welcome to February's Blends Club. I'm so excited for the projects this month. I was definitely inspired by some beachy, warm weather, some sunsets, and some palm trees, and just definitely an opportunity to bring some color into our gray winter that we've been having and our cold winter. So these projects are super fun. I'm excited to tell you all about them. We're going to start out making our card. You should have pieces for both projects. The first one is your card, and you should also have gotten the blends for this month. The blends, as a reminder, are Balmy Blue, Petal Pink, Pineapple Punch, and Seafoam Green. So these are very pastel type colors, but they make for a beautiful sunset. And I thought they were really fun for a beach scene. So to create this kind of sunset scene, we're going to use our blends, and we're going to use, here's what comes in your kit this month. A piece of basic black as the base. And you'll have a piece of Whisper White. This is what we're going to use to color our sunset. And we're going to do that before we even stamp our trees. We don't want any of the black to blend or to smear at all. So we're just going to go ahead and do the sunset, and then we'll stamp our trees and we'll stamp our sentiment on these smaller pieces. So the one thing that, like I always said, is to start with your lighter colors at first. And I think I'm going to start up at the top and work my way down. And so I have the light Pineapple Punch. I'm using the brush tip because I want to cover as much of the surface as possible. So I'm just starting out and just spreading the color and just getting it all the way to the edges. And it's okay if you want your colors to kind of run together a little bit. So I'm going down about 1/4 of the page with the light, okay? I'm going to take my light Petal Pink and continue on. And I am going to blend these two colors together. You want to do that while it's still wet. So you can see that they've started to blend and they make a little bit of a darker color. So there is our second color, okay? And then we're going to take our light Seafoam Green. This is going to be our third color. And we're going to mix that line that we created with the Petal Pink. We're going to mix that with the Seafoam Green. And just giving it a nice, good base coat here. Again, you want to overlap it just slightly so that the colors blend. And then we're going to take our light Balmy Blue and do the same thing on the bottom. Mixing those lines and coloring all the way down. And this is the fun part, because now that we have our base, we can go back over with the darker colors and blend some more. And so, for example, let's start again with our Pineapple Punch. This time I want the top to be the lightest, so I'm actually going to start about halfway down and go with the dark. And I will even go back with my light and blend these two together. See that? So it's all about the blending, right? You don't want any stark, obvious lines. So then I'm gonna go about halfway down my Petal Pink and do the same thing with my dark Petal Pink. Mixing in with the Seafoam Green. And then I'm gonna take my light and go over the top portion to kind of blend those two pinks, okay? Then we're gonna do the same with our Seafoam. So we've got our dark Seafoam Green. About halfway down, we're gonna start with the dark and work our way into the blue and blend that in, okay? Then we're gonna go back with our Seafoam Green, our light one, and blend that middle line so the colors blend really smoothly. And last but not least, we're going to take our dark Balmy Blue, go about halfway down and get this bottom just real nice and dark, like so. And then we'll take our light Balmy Blue and blend that line there. Okay, and that's it. There's our sunset. Super, super easy, right? So the only other thing that we're gonna color on this card is our sun beach hat. So we have our Memento Black ink, which you know is the ink that you need for blends. And we're going to stamp the hat on this little scrap of paper. And I used my pineapple punch and just color that in. Might want to give it a second, make sure the ink is dry. Because if the ink is not completely dry, it will blend a little bit, and you don't want that. We want a nice bright hat. And I took my Balmy Blue, the fine tip side, and just did the little center. And then you're gonna cut, you do have to fussy cut this out, but it goes by pretty quick. You just fussy cut this hat out. Make sure you give yourself a nice little white border around the hat. Like so. And voila, we have our little hat. And I just kind of want to trim it a little bit more, like so. Okay. And then we need to stamp our sentiment, which I absolutely love the sentiment. Don't worry, beach happy. So cute. I absolutely just, it makes me happy when I see it. It's so clever. And it's a really cute sentiment. So don't worry, beach happy, right here in the center of our white cardstock there. And now it's just assembly time. We're going to take our snail adhesive and adhere our, oop, good thing it didn't stick down, I can move it still. Okay, so we'll do that. We're also going to glue our little hat on. You can use a little dimensional, or you can use some liquid glue or whatever adhesive you have. And I say this every month, but you'll see my colors, you know, are pretty close to the original, but it's always going to vary just slightly because you are, you know, never going to make the same thing twice. It's going to be darker, lighter, or different. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our palm trees in the background to kind of create that sunset feel, right? So our palm trees are going to be dark because it's casting shadows, the sun is setting. So when you stamp your trees, you're going to just kind of want to build your scene and fill, you know, I went skinny on top and kind of more of the tree showing as we get to the bottom, like so. Maybe one right here between them. Okay, you can make it as full or as sparse as you would like. Make sure you re-ink every time after you stamp your tree, because you're not stamping on the full page. You are going to get lines, and then some of it will be darker than the other. So don't think just because it's still black that you can stamp it again. This one we're going to do like so. Okay, and then we have the stem of the palm tree. Oops, I don't know why I closed the ink. Stem of our palm tree that's going to go on our palm trees here. We've got several palm trees that need their little stems. There we go. And our little trees are coming from the side here. Okay, so there we go. Did I tell you guys which stamp set we're using? You probably already know, but we're using the Beach Happy stamp set. And we're using, for this current card, we're using the palm tree and the Don't Worry Beach Happy and the little hat. Okay, sorry, I forgot to say that right at the beginning. All right, now that we have stamped our palm trees, we can go ahead, put adhesive on the back. put it on our card base. And now you're ready to give a bright, happy card to someone special. And voila. Oh, that's a little crooked. There we go. Easy, right? Now you know how to create that sunset type of feel when you're blending these blends. You can do it with any kind of color, but it's just a really, really neat card. Hope you guys like that one. All right, so the next project is this awesome, cute little bag. Now, I'm going to tell you that with every project I make, I tend to get a little bit better with each time I make it. And so this time, hopefully, I can make it a little bit better than I did the first time. I learned some things along the way. And so hopefully it'll turn out better than this one. For example, on my example, I have a crease on this, or I have a line showing for the basic black. And I don't really want that showing there. So I have cut my black paper better this time so I know that it's going to line up and there's going to be lines on the sides. Same thing with the Whisper white paper. So I will show you what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and pull our project pieces into view here. You are going to need basic black baker's twine, some burlap ribbon, and these pieces that I provided for you. This is the 1 3/8 inch scallop punch, and this is the 1 1/2 inch scallop punch. I punched this out of Balmy Blue because that's one of the colors we're using today. I have 2 strips of basic black cardstock, both measuring 6.5 inches by 1 inch. Those are for the bottom. This piece of basic black is 6 inches by 3.5 inches, and it's scored at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Now, for this, we are going to cut along the 2 shorter sides at the score line, and those are going to be our flaps. And then I will show you how we're going to assemble this here shortly, but these are the 4 cuts that you'll need on the sides. All right, so before we assemble, let's go ahead and stamp and color our piece of Whisper White. So this is going to be the purse itself, and I thought it would be fun to do a bunch of these little beach chairs. So again, we're using Memento black ink because we are going to be coloring the chairs themselves, and you just want to stamp this image all over without really any rhyme or reason. You just want it to be bright with a cute pattern. Now, if this isn't the stamp you want to use to make your pattern, then use a different one. Make them all little purses, or make them the beach hats, or there's all kinds of options. I realized with this one that I didn't stamp enough. I wanted it to be busier than that. So this time I'm filling in more. So because I want more beach chairs to color. But you can do as little or as many as you want. Okay? So we'll just do one more there, should be good. All right, so mine is going to be super busy this time. We'll see how that turns out for me. And so once you've got that stamped, the other thing that you can do, and I did do it on this one, is stamp the lined chair. And you can do that in color or you can do it in black. I just chose to do mine in black. So we'll put this on a stamping block, and I'm just going to put it on the chair one. And we'll get our Memento black ink out. And we'll stamp. Now you have to line this up with the lines of the chair. That's the only thing about this stamp. So it does take a little bit of lining up to do it. Not that it needs to be perfect, but it does take a little bit more accuracy. Again, totally optional. Do not have to do this step. How does this line up? And it might have been fun to do these in different colors in the matching colors of the blends, like some pineapple punch ones and some seafoam green ones and balmy blue. That would have been cute. So that's also an option that you could do. You do not have to do black like I did. Last one. There we go. All right. So now we get to do the fun part, which is the coloring. I always enjoy this part. And the only thing I colored really were just the umbrellas. And so you can just kind of, you can play with that. You can make them all the same color. I think this time around I'm just going to make them all the same color. On this one, I did alternating colors, so blue and yellow, pink and yellow, green and blue. So it's really up to you how you want to color your, but the blends are just amazing for coloring and, you know, amazing for shadows. You know, you can shadow darker along the creases to give it a little bit more dimension. So for example, if I went over here with the darks, and then I went back over with the light. Okay, so you're just gonna have fun. You're just gonna color those umbrellas. Okay, that is it. We are finally done coloring. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble our bag. So here is what we're going to do. You can use tear and tape or liquid glue, but you're going to want glue for these 4 cornered tabs. I'm going to start with the first 2. Make sure your lines are all burnished really well. I didn't do that step, but I'm going to regret it. So you're going to fold in the 2 sides, and you're going to glue the side up like I did here. So did you guys see that? I think I was off the camera. So fold these in and glue this. And I just make sure that my edges are flush here on the sides. And with liquid glue, you have a little bit of wiggle room. With tear and tape, you're not going to have that. So liquid glue may be a little bit more messy, but it sure has its advantages at times. Okay, so then we're going to put some liquid glue here and fold up that side and just hold it there. Again, making sure that these edges are flush. So we have this little box. This is going to be the bottom of our purse. Now I am going to get the tear and tape out, because we want to put a strip of tear and tape at the bottom on the back of our designer series paper. So making sure that it's the right side up, you're going to put tear and tape across the bottom. Okay. And I'm also going to put a strip around the top of my box because I want it to be good and glued down. So you can see here, I'm just putting a strip and tear and tape across all sides of my boxes, all sides of my box. I don't know why I made it plural. Okay, so I'm peeling off the backing of that. And then you can peel it off slowly. You don't have to take it all off at once, but you can start with one. And let's see. So on this box, I started in the middle and the back, which was a mistake. So I'm going to actually start on the side here. I'm going to start on one side, and I've made the bottom flush with the bottom of my box and stuck that down. And then I'm just going to wrap my piece around my box, making sure that the bottom stays flush with the bottom of the box. Uh-oh. Mayday, mayday. Well, that didn't stay very flush. Be really careful on this part. There we go. And then just keep going, working your way slowly around. There we go. And then wrap around the back piece here. And they will overlap a little bit. Like so. Oh, before I glue that down, I actually need to put a strip of tear and tape along this side here because we're going to glue that down to the side onto itself here. So let's peel that back. As you can see, tear and tape is really strong adhesive, and that's what makes it so fabulous for boxes. Now I am making sure that the bottom matches up first. That's what I care about. And then I will just fold this up to the top there. And there we have it. This cute, cute, cute beginning of a purse. Okay, so I really do like the fact that the top of my purse, I mean the seam of my purse is now on the side rather than in the front where the view would be. It's much better to have it here on the side. Making sure that all of my edges are glued down. Okay, now the next step is going to be our handles. And you'll have two pieces that are both measuring 16 inches long. This is the burlap ribbon, and you're going to glue this down on both sides and just make sure that your burlap goes down to the edges there. Now that is about an inch apart. So if you want to measure how far apart to make your handles, it's about an inch apart. So I just found that the best way to adhere this was with tear and tape, and you can put tear and tape directly on your bag or you can put it on your straps. I think I'm going to put it on my straps, and I'm just going to measure how long I need this to be. So that's probably about good here. And this is 4 inches. So you definitely don't want the adhesive longer than 4 inches because that's only as tall as your box is. So I'm just putting tear and tape on the back of my burlap and peel off. And I'm going to glue that down to my bag. Okay, so there's one side, and then we'll do the other side like so. So again, get your tear and tape. Measure out what you're going to need and put it on your ribbon. Now, so I made sure that my straps are going to stay, they're not going to be twisted. They're going to stay the same side so that it looks, the handle's going to look like this. And so I'll just put my adhesive on the back of my handle here. Oops, went sideways. Okay, so push that down real well and peel off the backing. And it's hard with the ribbon. It doesn't stick as well as it does on paper. Okay, so then we'll just put this burlap down. And mine is going over a little bit. That's not good. There we go. And glue that ribbon on there, and then you have this cute handle. And then I can see that my adhesive went over a little bit, so I'm just going to actually roll my adhesive down till it's not past the handle. Okay, so there's your one handle. We'll do the exact same thing on the other side. So we'll just measure this out. Give ourselves about 4 inches. Like so. Okay. And glue that down. And we'll do another strip about 4 inches. And I just love how bright and fun this purse is. It's so cute. And yet it has that black and white and then a pop of color, which I really like. So I hope you guys liked this month's project. It seemed to be a pretty popular one, which is awesome. That always makes me happy. People like the projects. So here is our second set of handles. So now we have the 2 sides of handles. So the last thing for us to do is to put our pieces around the bottom to make it look like a cohesive strip. Now you can use tear and tape for this, or you can use liquid glue, or you could use runner. I am going to use tear and tape because I just know that that is going to stick really well. Okay, and I measured these out to 6.5 inches by 1 inch each because I knew that they could wrap around the sides and meet on the sides as a seam rather than in the front. So just put that down here in the front and wrap the sides around like so and like so, and then we'll do the exact same thing again with our second piece. And I do want it to stick really well. Now, if you ever go over the edge, you just fold that adhesive back on itself and you're good to go. So, okay, so let's put this down in the center here. Make sure it's good and sealed, and then wrap around the side, whoops, 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 and wrap around the sides, okay? And so then I like my seams to be going away, so this would be the front of my purse, but you're gonna have to decide which side is the front, because now we're going to stamp our little label, which says, relax, relax, you deserve it, which I think is very sweet. Relax, you deserve it. Goes right in the center of our white scallop. And then that is gonna go on our little Balmy Blue circle. But before that, I'm gonna just cut a piece of this baker's twine. Yours will already be cut in your package. And I'm just going to wrap this around my bag. Now you can do this 2 ways. You can do it where you have a little knot at the top like this, where you would just glue the center of your string to the inside of your Balmy Blue and then put your scallop on top. So you'd have it like this and you can tie a knot. Or you can do like I'm gonna do this time, where I'm gonna wrap around my handle like this. And then we can put it on our Balmy Blue. And I'm just gonna trim off this little extra. And I'm gonna glue this down with some dimensionals. I think I want the big dimensionals. So I'm just gonna use dimensionals to hold down the baker's twine. If I can get any more dimensionals off. There we go. And we'll put a lot of dimensionals, just making sure that label goes nowhere, and neither does our baker's twine. So just peeling off the back of those. And then we take our sentiment, make sure it's up and down with the string, and voila! you have this cute little label. And then on the back of it, you can write to from, or you can leave it like so. But super, super cute little bag. How fun is that, you guys? Do you love that? I hope you enjoyed this month's blends. I hope you are getting familiar with how to use them and getting all kinds of ideas of how to create with them. So we have our 2 beautiful projects this week. We learned how to color a sunset, and we learned how to create pops of color on a beautiful bag. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll join me again next month for some more fun with blends. Next month will be blends on vellum. So I'm really excited for that, for you guys to try it. Thank you so much. Have a great time coloring with those blends. Bye.